Welcome everyone. My name is Maria and I'm here with our second session for the Foods for Thoughts, our conversation about nutrition and healthy eating. In our first session, I just briefly talk about Canada Food Guides and how we should think about creating a balanced meal. And I kind of just briefly talk a little about the different food groups and the different nutrients, and how having this understanding, how we can try to balance our meals throughout the day. So I'm gonna continue exploring a little bit more the Canada Food Guide. And so I'm gonna start to share my screen here. So Canada Food Guide, there's like different sessions and different aspects we can explore, and I'm going to be bringing some of these aspects to discuss with you guys for the next sessions, the following sessions. So for today, we're going to discuss a little bit about the number one recommendation, which is limit highly processed food. So just a reminder before I continue with that, all this information comes from the Canada Food Guides. So there's a reference here at the bottom and anyone can access that. And this is just an overall recommendation, acknowledging that some people have individual restrictions and individual concerns that we will need to adjust, and that's going to be made by your physician or your nutritionist or a professional health that probably you already see. Okay, limit highly processed food. That means try to eat as less as possible. But what is highly processed foods? Have you ever heard about this term? Do you have any idea what highly processed food means? Okay, so highly processed food are processed or prepared foods and drinks that are added excess sodium that usually comes from salt or some other additive that has sodium on its components. These add excessive amounts of sugar or saturated fat. Saturated fat usually comes from industry, trans fats, milk, meat, and usually fat that comes from animal products, and it's usually added to this product. And the industry usually adds these ingredients to make it the taste better and kind of to make us addictive to it. So both salt, sugar, and fat really works on our brain saying that, oh, that's good, I need more, I need more, I need more. And besides that, when adding these components also helps to make the shelf life longer. That means that the food that are processed through in the industry and added all these different components, they can last for a long time on the groceries, and we can take home and still store for a long time. So it takes sometimes years to go bad. So eating highly processed foods, what is the problem? So it's going to increase your intake of sodium, sugars, or saturated fat. And all these ingredients has been shown to increase your risk of chronic diseases. So talking about chronic diseases, just so you guys know, to clarify, it's related to, can be like heart diseases, cancer, chronic lung diseases, sometimes stroke, which is related to heart and all cardiovascular system, Alzheimer's disease, so some neurological diseases, diabetes, which is like the high blood sugar levels, and even chronic kidney diseases. So there are different types of diseases that the effects are long-lasting and requires also long-lasting treatments. But all those can be prevented with a healthy lifestyle. So with diet, exercises, and stress management. So highly processed food, some examples here. So putting this all into practice. So what are some of these products that are usually high in sugar, fat, and or sodium? Usually industrialized drinks, sugary drinks, so coming from some flavorized waters. Sometimes some of them are added sugar, artificial sugars, some processed smoothies, energy drinks, sport drinks, iced coffee, sodas, and juices, candies, chocolate, and frozen desserts, ice cream, all this type of treats. Also, deli meats, they are usually have increased amount of sodium beside other conservants and additives that can be related to cancer and some other chronic diseases. And fast food, so ready to go or frozen hamburgers, sausages, pizzas, frozen meals ready to go, chips, and even the dips and dressings when they come from the industry, they are ready to go. It's something we should be aware about. And as I mentioned, some snacks and treats. Okay, how can we limit highly processed food? Because it's easy, right? It's usually cheap. It's so easy. You buy, you open, and you eat it. You don't need to prepare. Like, you don't need any skill. You don't need any kitchen supply, and you can eat anywhere, anytime. You can find all around, and usually tastes good because there's so much sugar and salt and fat that makes, as I mentioned before, us like taste so good, and our brain likes it. It feels good eating that usually at the moment, but for sure we have later consequences. So how should we limit? What can we do to limit highly processed food? So if you eat highly processed food, some tips are try to eat them less often. So if you eat it every day, try not to eat it every day, maybe 3 times a week. If you eat like every meal, okay, try to limit to once a day. So slowly see how it goes into your diet and if you can make this less often. Eat them in small amounts. There's a very important tip as well, because commonly we find this product packed in packages, or even it's like the price in between the small and the big is so little that we just go for the large package. And once we open, or once we have a large hot chocolate or hot beverage, you're gonna end up eating it all, even though you might not need all that amount. So we end up eating large amounts as well. Then it can be helpful to avoid large packages And if you buy large packages, just try to make it smaller packages so you eat less amount. And replace them with healthier options. So that's something you're gonna explore a little bit more on the next slides. Replace sugar drinks with water. So when we are thirsty, our body needs water. Water is the element, is the only thing that really relieves our thirsty, that really hydrates our cells. And that's what we need whenever we need to drink something. Try to keep highly processed foods away from home. Don't have it at home, because if you stock it at home, it's easy. As I mentioned, it tastes good, so we end up going for it. So avoid having this at home and just buying whenever really, like in an emergency, when you really need to have something quick and when you don't have enough money to buy something healthier, or yeah, just for a last minute meal. Choose healthier menu options when going out, when eating out. So also trying to choose places to go where maybe they have more homemade food instead of fast food. But even the fast food restaurants, you can find some healthier options. Again, looking for maybe smaller portions instead of buying the large, huge sandwich. Or sometimes if you can switch the drink for water, and try to balance a little bit more. Choose something that has salad on it, or instead of fries, add a salad on the side, and balance a little bit. Choose less processed foods, such as, so for example, you can use leftover baked chicken sliced to make a nice sandwich instead of using deli meats. You can even like freeze the leftover bacon chicken if you're not doing it right away. And as you need, you can take it out to make your sandwich, your snack, your lunch. Another thing, for example, instant oats can be, usually they're sweetened and they can be really high in sugar. So instead of using those, just use steel cut oats. They are really quick to make as well, just with hot water, and add maybe some raisins, cinnamon, and even if you need to add a little bit of sugar, then you can use maple or you can use honey, a better quality of sugar. So again, make water your first choice of drink. So whenever you think about drinking a soda, a juice, question yourself if maybe you already had water on the day, so maybe you can drink a little bit of water, and just leave these sugary drinks for maybe a special day when you want to go out for a treat, and for your day-to-day choosing water. So you can always option. For sure, sometimes you might need help. You might need people to help you. But it can be something also fun and a way to connect and spend your time and learn new skills is cook. Make homemade versions of your favorite highly processed food. So instead of buying a muffin, you bake a muffin yourself, or with your friends or with your caregivers. Instead of going out for have a burger at a fast food restaurant, make your own homemade hamburger. You can make a delicious baked potato on the oven. It can be crispy and so crunchy and so full of flavor. And a great substitute for French fries. And also a hot chocolate, a latte. Once you do it at home, you can control how much sugar you put in. You can control the quality of sugar you're using. So you can choose, instead of just the white sugar, you can use brown sugar, raw sugar. As I mentioned before, honey and maple syrup are good options for adding some sweetness to your drinks or to your recipes. Stock your kitchen and your lunch bag with healthy and easy snacks. So there are easy and healthy snacks we can have at home, and you can always have it on your bag, on your lunch bag, or in your bag whenever you're going out, just for in case you have an emergency and you need to have an extra snack. So for sure, always considering your restrictions. Some people have some allergies that might have some restrictions or some other health concerns. But if it's okay, you can have nuts. They don't get bad that easy. You can take it anywhere. Fruits. So putting them, for sure, maybe you're gonna need a container, but some fruits are really easy to go, like apple, bananas, and grapes. You can put in a small container and take anywhere. The same thing with vegetables. You can make vegetable sticks, baby carrots, the baby cucumbers, and grape tomatoes. They are so fresh, full of nutrients, full of life, and it's a good snack for any day, anytime. Boiled eggs can be also a good and healthy option if you are okay eating eggs. Some more tips. So it's good to plan your meals and snacks in advance. Again, this is something that maybe the caregiver would be responsible for that, or you can ask someone help for that. If so, always think ahead. So whenever you go to do your groceries, you have at home all those healthy items, and you can plan and have your snacks and with you whenever you need. So you don't need to go out and just buy fast food or quick snacks for emergency. Another tip is to limit the use of spreads and dressings. So the processed ones. If you can make it home, great, but ketchup, some Italian dressings, ranch dressings, they are all full of, usually overloaded with sodium, sometimes even sugar, even though you cannot taste it, and bad quality fat. So it's good to be mindful about it. Use the food labels when grocery shopping to make informed choices. So I'm gonna explore this a little bit more. I'm gonna go back to that point, but one good news is that not all processed foods are bad. So there are some processed that industry uses to conserve food longer, that doesn't require adding any conservatives or salt or sugar or fat. It's just sometimes removing water or adding some heat to neutralize the bacteria. So usually dried, canned, and some frozen fruits and vegetables can be a healthy and handy option to add in your meals. So for example, some dried fruits, just reminding that some of them can be added with sugar. So it's always good to try to read on the label, or buy one that you already know that it's sugar-free, that is just fruit. Frozen vegetables, it's a good way to preserve vegetables and have them all available any time of the year in the fridge. The same way, frozen fruits, they are delicious to make smoothies for summertime, wonderful, or even sometimes for baking or to add to your porridge or oatmeal. Canned beans, again, always these ones, it's good also to read on the labels because some of them can be added some extra stuff, but you can find good quality canned beans that just preserve in water and maybe just low in sodium. And light tuna, or sometimes even some meats preserved only in water and low in sodium can be a handy and healthy option for you to add and make your meals easier. So going back to the food label that I mentioned before. So the food label is this part. So usually when you buy and industrialize food, there's the box on the package. They have to show this information. So you can see this table with the nutrition facts that usually shows the amount of protein, carbohydrates, sugar, fat, and sodium, and with some numbers. So it's helpful, but it can be a little bit confusing. So I won't go into this now. But one thing that can be helpful, and it's easier when we can read, because sometimes can be so tiny the letter that it's really challenging to read. But it's try to look to the ingredients list. So when you look to ingredients list, try to look for names that you know what it is, like ingredients that you would use at home, for example, when making a cake. Not because industry end up adding some other preservatives and they modify some ingredients that makes that unhealthy. So try to look to the ingredients list whenever possible and look for ingredients that you're familiar with and shorter lists. If you see like long lists with these weird names, put it aside and try to go for another option. So do not fall for food marketing. Food marketing is amazing tool to sell. So the producer, the industry wants to sell the product to people, to the consumers. So they want to make it the more attractive as possible. So, but it doesn't mean that the information is real. So whenever you see food marketing and you feel like, I feel like I want to buy it. It's beautiful, it looks yummy, but question yourself, does it look like this on the reality? Because usually the pictures are so beautiful. And once you buy the product, it's not that beautiful. It's not that good. So question yourself, if this is really a good option, or you can make a better option. Again, as I mentioned before, so try to cook more often whenever possible. Eat more home food. So in that way, you know what you're using. You are able to use fresh and healthier ingredients. And eat fresh. That's the base of a healthy diet. I understand that sometimes can be barriers to purchasing, to access fresh food. But I see that here in Victoria, we are still fortunate because we have a good, nice rural area. We have some local producers that we can get access through different like food boxes or even food banks. And so still, I think it's not that hard. Sometimes you just have to reframe and replan your groceries and try to do it, see what you can do a little bit better in that subject. And to wrap up, I'm gonna bring our smart choice tips. And for today, our smart choice number 1, thinking about limiting highly processed food, is Drinking flavorized water you can make at home. So in order, if you like to drink something with flavor, instead of drinking that sugary beverages, you can make some fancy water. So adding fruits to your water, you can add fresh ginger, mint, any herb. If you have a herb garden at your home, that's perfect. You can put rosemary, basil, so you can explore different flavors. And smart choice number 2 is make your muffin at home and try to add some more whole grains and nuts and fruits, and substituting maybe the white sugar for more healthier natural sugars. As I mentioned, it can be honey, maple syrup, or even dry dates, applesauce, and bananas are good ways to bring the sweetness without adding white sugar. And to wrap up, I'm just gonna share with you guys the video of this nice recipe that we can find on the website of the Canada Food Guide. Brown sugar, eggs. So then you stir it all together. Very ripe banana mashed, a zucchini grated, ground cinnamon, plain Greek yogurt, vanilla extract. Then stir everything together. Put it in a muffin baking pan and bake for 18 minutes. There you go. Yummy. Not that hard, eh? Okay, guys, so this is all that I have for today. And if you guys have any questions, I'm always happy to answer your questions. You can send it to Jen, and at any point we can make just a questions and answer session. And also we are open for suggestions. And thank you so much. See you next time.